race, skin, creed, location, age, and even religion. He is popularly described as someone who walks the talk. In June 2013 until 2015, he was given the mandate to be an official business mentor for participants of the youth development programs established by the regime of His Eminence Dr. Goodluck Jonathan to empower Nigerian youth, called You Win. Please, I would like to crave your indulgence that you get up and help me welcome to the podium Engineer Dr. Heladi.
Excited to be here. How many of you are excited to be here? So how are you guys feeling? Great. Not great. If I say how are you feeling, you say imperatious. How are you feeling? Imperatious. You know that kind of feeling when you are an emperor or empress over your own empire. Yes. Right? Yes. So that's what's going to happen, and that's what we're going to be building during the course of our business relationship and our relationship generally. So today, I don't know what to talk about actually. They finished everything? So, first of all, I want to thank you for the opportunity to share some of my views. And while I was sitting, was talking, I said, wow. And when Jerome came, I said, my God, I'm finished. I don't have anything to say again. And when Martins came on, I almost went there. All right? So when Doctor stood up, I was there. All right? So today we're not going to be here for long. We'll just be here for the next 13 hours. Oh, no. Probably for the next 13 hours. Yeah, those are my people. Please celebrate Mama and my sister for me. You know, one thing I know in the industry of network marketing is that it's a personal development program these guys as a business. Right? This is by far the only industry that you join in who you are. This is by far the only industry that you join to end who you are. Maybe some of you did not get it right. You can stumble on result in network marketing, but to sustain that result, or to be able to replicate that result, you have to be worthy of that result. And that's why I tell people that any result you have that you can't repeat for the second time, the first one is a mistake. Right? So what do I mean? I can get started, I can be registered in a business, and probably let me just give you your mind back to, I'll just share with you a brief story, and I'll share with you some key things that everybody can do in order to take their business to the next level, since we are here for the next level, right? Yes. How many of us are ready for the next level? Say aye. Aye. All right. So, you know, my journey the whole thing reminds me of my journey. I remember the other day I tried to share with you a little bit about how I started, but there are parts I skipped. So I'll just use less than 2 minutes to share with you that aspect and to see what lessons you will learn. I always like to, teach people by sharing little bit of stories because it's easier for you to be able to remember the lessons in the stories, right? Yes, so I told you that day that the first time I saw the opportunity of network marketing, I didn't have the money to get started, and I told myself, if I don't have this money now to get next year, by this time, maybe the time will still come and I will still be in a position that I don't have the money. So I have to do something so that I don't ever have to say I don't have the money again. So I looked around and I said, what did I really have that is not making any money for me? And I looked at my TV, my handset, right? Even though it's kind of necessary, especially nowadays, and just some few things. So when I saw it, I got started, and when I went to the presentation, actually this is what happened. They told me that I didn't need to do anything. Just sign up and you'll be rich. I don't know if you've ever had that before. Maybe you've been to presentations where they promise you that you'll just be rich, or just get started, right? And all of a sudden, everything will be okay. So with that, you know, I was sitting right at the back in the hall, and I see branding cars, people traveling all over the world, people making millions. And when the presenter said, all this thing is possible, all you just need to do is to sign up. Nobody told me that there was work. Right? Nobody told me that it was net work. The second part. Net what? Oftentimes, people don't emphasize about the second part, the work part. Just tell you how easy it is. When you get on board, you make money. So that's exactly what happened. I saw those things just started, nothing, and they said, after when I signed up, they said, hey, Larry, you know what? I said, what? They said, you need to do your own business launch. Nobody told me that. I said, how do I do it? They said, you need to get a mini hotel, maybe, and actually, the very first opportunity presentation I saw, it was in a hotel. So, and that's why I often tell people that recruiting, all right, starts from the invite. The first time I was invited to see the opportunity was in a hotel. And oftentimes, the way you bring people in the business is the same way they're going to bring other people in the business. So I felt that actually for me to be successful, I needed actually to have to hire a hotel and also make sure there's a lot of food. Because especially from where I came from, if you invite people to your home or to your program, you need to give them food. So what did I do? I didn't have money. Remember I told you I sold everything? So I took some loans and I collected some money from my sister, and I paid for the venue. I prepared meal for over 100 people. All right? 100. And you know, I have this book that I printed all my contact list. I did 500. And I called all of them using phone book. Because remember, I already sold my phone to that time. And guess what? All of them promised me that they were going to come. So I can never forget that night. When I was, lying on my bed, I was just doing 2 plus 2. And I was having a vision how I was just going to be rich all of a sudden, and how I would be traveling everywhere around the world. And on the day of the presentation, nobody showed up. So I dressed. Why would you say 500 people? I said, nobody, that's not realistic. I was there very early. I dressed very sharp. And the presenter was around. Out of 500 people, how many people guessed? Shut up. 50. No, less. Who said 50? Nice guy. Let's tell me how many people showed up. 40. 6, 5. 40. Who said 100? Oh, my sister tried as well.
No one.
You're about to say something. 100? You two say 100? That's great.
200.
No one came.
No one came. 500. 200.
No way. Okay. Let me save you this space.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me save you this space. I was there. There was food for about 100 people. Because I didn't have enough money to get food for the 500 people.
Yeah.
So I guess I probably said that maybe some are going to manage, especially the VIPs. All right. And the others can, of course, can manage. And 1 hour into the presentation, nobody showed up.
Same experience.
I'll go and meet the presenter. I said, excuse me, sir, sorry, please. I just called them. They said, yeah, let's give them 5 minutes. And I'll go back and I'll sit down. And 30 minutes into the presentation, nobody showed up. You know, I was quite young. I just wanted to imagine if you take like 12 years out of my age, and I just finished university, just came out of school. I started my business, was doing well, and I was robbed. They emptied everything in my shop, and I was heavily indebted. So I had to settle some debt, and I was wondering. Sat down. 1 hour, 2 hours. Nobody showed up. But you know the most painful part of all that is that there are some people that I collected the phone of the presenter actually, and that was what I was using to call them. And there are some people that they promised me that they're gonna come. And even just 30 minutes to the program, they told me that they're on their way coming. Yeah, we're coming, we're on our way coming. And they never showed up. So I was left with a lot of friends. Not even one person showed up. And I cried. I said, why do bad things happen to good people? I cried that day. I said, I was just a young man just trying to earn some honest living. What have I done? You know, I asked so many questions. Yeah, I mean, I asked God so many questions. I said, there are many options, many things I could do, yet I didn't do them. I just wanted to earn some money in an honest means. I said, what did I do to deserve this? Small business I do, robbers. I lost my house because I couldn't pay my house rent. I have to lose my TV, my cell phone, my laptop to get started in a business, and now no business. Borrowed money, paid for hall, and nobody showed up. Who is after me? I believe that my village people are in the place. That's what I believe. That seriously, somebody must be after me spiritually. So I went back home. I mean, the presenter was trying to encourage me, say, don't worry, everything will be okay. At some point, he also literally almost joined me because how do you start encouraging someone in this situation when after narrating everything that I've been through? He just told me it's well. So I went home and I sat in the front of on my door, and the messenger of misery visited me. And probably he's going to visit some of you if he has not visited you already. Maybe during the course of this business, he's going to visit some of you. You know, he came in and he whispered into my ears. You know what he said? He said, Daddy, he said, maybe this is not for you. The fact that other people have succeeded doesn't necessarily mean that you also will succeed in this business. Maybe this is not even your calling. You know what I found out? That at some point while you're in this business, if you've not experienced this, there may be a time that you won't. There may be a time that you even doubt, you know, as to whether this business is something that actually you should do or not. But something, a voice told me, he said, Daddy, maybe you could just give it a one more try. And I'm glad I listened to that second voice. But I remember picking a book, and there was something I saw in the book. Because I've always been someone that loved reading. And you know what I saw in the book? It says the only reason why someone is more successful than you is because they know something you don't know. For the first time, I realized something, that if I am going to win, I have to do two things. One, I have to make a decision. Live Martins talked about decision, right? Decision to win. And if you look at the word decision here, the word side here means to cut or to kill, right? You can see the word as in something like herbicide to kill herbs, right? Pesticide to kill what? Pest. Insecticide to kill what? Insect. Decision means to kill you for a new start. It means you have to come to a state, to a point in your life that you have to die to every option if you must win. I watched an interview of one of the wisest guys, the founder of Wisdom Center. And they told him, he said, how do you destroy a visionary man? And he said, give him another vision. He will be self-destruct. Yes. He said, give him another vision and he will be self-destruct. Right? So, I have to make a decision to kill every other option other than to be successful. But if I have to be successful, it means I have to take 100% responsibility. All right? And I said, listen, Daddy, if I win, it's up to me. If I fail, it's up to me. But never will I ever blame someone for my result or for my inability to get any result. So this is what I had to do. And I have to be honest to myself. I asked that, is it possible that the same set of people that I invited that didn't show up, is it possible that someone else would have invited them and all of them would have showed up?
Yes.
Is it possible?
Yeah.
That probably someone would have invited them and yet they would have showed up? So how many times have you ever invited people for your programs or your presentations and they didn't show up? How many of you have ever done that before?
Many times. Many times.
And sometimes you feel bad, right?
Yes.
So but this is what the second aspect did for me is I realized that, listen, Larry, if I invite people and they don't show up, it means that the problem is not with the people. Who is the problem?
You yourself.
And it simply means that I don't know how to invite, all right? So if you ever invite someone, it's not always true though, but if every time you invite people and they don't show up, it probably means that there's a problem with your invitation skills. If you consistently show people the opportunity and yet they don't get involved, it simply means that there's a probability that you need to improve your presentation skills. Right? If you present very well and people don't often get involved, it simply means that there is a chances that you may need to work more on your closing skills. So for the very first time, when I took my eyes away from, my outline, the business, the system, and I said, hey, you know what, I'm responsible for this. First of all, I remember a triangle that I saw, the triangle of success, right? Especially in network marketing. It says that if you must be successful, you need to have, I will be fast because there are quite some few things I just want to share with us before we go, all right? The first, this is a triangle. So first triangle you need to have is the right variable if you want to be successful in NLM, right? by the way, forgive me, I don't know how to spell, but I know it's not a criteria for web, right?
That's all.
Yes, so long as you can understand what I'm saying, it's okay. All right. So, you need to be in the right vehicle. Vehicle makes all the difference. And if you're going to make some millions of dollars in this industry and to have a lasting success, you need to be in the right vehicle. And for me, I think Emporium is the best vehicle out there. If you look at the history of the company, the founders and many of the top executives in the business have been involved at some point or the other in one multi-level network marketing company or the other, right? So all of them have had a kind of collective idea of different systems out there, and they said, you know what? For the very first time, for example, just recently I was discussing with one of the management staff yesterday, and we were recounting our experience. I said, hey, just last year, last year around this time, that was February, right? We're in Dubai here, and I saw a very beautiful opportunity. I invested about 75 million there back in total, and 2 weeks, in fact, I went home. I shared the same opportunity with 3 of my friends, everybody, each of them brought in 10 million, plus 30 million, and guess what? Less than 2 weeks, the website was gone. So part of what I have to do, I even couldn't open my mouth to tell my friends that this is what happened. I said, please, can I have your account? I said, now, so far to the best that I know, product-based businesses are the best. Because anytime when someone is getting involved in the system, they get something instantly in exchange for their money. So there's no story like, well, I did business, I put my money in this business and I lost. Nobody loses with product business. So it is by far one of the best vehicles. I mean, and for me, Emporium, I feel is the best vehicle. For many reasons, which I will share with you much more later. Right? Second, you need to be the right person for the vehicle. Network marketing doesn't make you rich. It's like a person inside a car. You need to learn how to drive the car. True? Yes. So you can have the most wonderful vehicle in this world, the best car in this world, and you may be inside the car so long as you can't drive the car. Of what good is the car? So many of you might have, many people will later get involved in this opportunity, and probably they will devote themselves to be able to learn all the rudiments, all right? If they want to be successful. So here's the last one that I just want to quickly share with you. You need to have the right word, the right knowledge. There's a shortcut way to success in network marketing, which I'm going to share with you. But I want to put it across to you this way. You know, this is by far the most bastardized industry in the world. How many of you agree with that? Yes. If you want to be a lawyer, what do? You go to school, you study law. You want to be an accountant, what do? You go to school, you study accounting. You want to be a doctor, you go to school, you study medicine. You want to be an engineer, you go to school, you study engineering. All right? You even want to be a tailor, you go to what? Fashion school to study what? Tailoring. Right? You want to be a fashion designer? What do? You study the same thing. There's literally anything of value that you do that you don't have to study. Yet, it's only in network marketing someone will see a business and come on board and say, hey, you know what? I want to come into this business, and in 6 months, I want to make $1 million. And if it did not happen, you say it's not working. True? Yes. So, the fastest way to be very successful in this business is to what? Study network marketing. Study it. Not in terms of school, right? I don't mean that you have to go to school. Get the right knowledge. And let's start here. Knowledge, right? Is that how they spell knowledge? Please, someone should correct me. Did I get it correctly? How do they spell it? Please, someone should help me. Okay. Okay, okay. And okay. 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 Oh, clap for me. Okay. If you look at the words that comes together to form the word knowledge, it's three words. It's three things, right? Let's break it down. We have the first part, the second part, and then what? The only age that you're going to have in this business, the age you have is what? Is what you know. There were times then, I'll never forget that, I'll bring people on board, they will see the presentation, and then they will tell me that, oh, it's a very great opportunity, but I don't have money. How many of you have heard this? But someone will say, well, it's a very great business, but I don't have the time. Or I'll need to go and think about it, I'll need to go and talk to my spouse about it, or all those excuses. You know, the only way I was able to eliminate all those excuses was to get more knowledge. This program today, there's not much time for us to teach you about objection or debunking all these things, but I'm just trying to show you the importance of acquiring more knowledge. Because the more you know, the less you're probably going to hear most of those objections. Right? Yeah. In fact, I moved from inviting people and telling me no, because there is one thing I hate. I hate to invite people after sometimes to my presentation and they probably say that I don't have time, I can't do this business. So I realized that the more I study more about networking, right? And there are 4 types of knowledge that I will quickly share with you. The less I hear those excuses, in fact, more so, what happened is that I later started getting people begging me to go and see my presentation. How many of you would like to have people begging you to go and see your presentation? That's great. Maybe the last 2-3 seconds before I leave, I'm going to give you an idea, sharply, right, of how to do that. So, first of all, you need to know that you are what? A human. First. And the building blocks of our body is the food we eat. It's a popular saying that we are what we eat.
Yes.
Right? Yes. Physically, yes. But then, mentally, is the words. The words. Right? Tell your neighbor the words. The words you listen to are the building block of your human spirit. And that is the major determinant factor as to what is possible for you. And when words are spoken, they come in you. And so that word comes in to form you. That is why we have what we call an informed person. It means by the virtue of the knowledge at that person's disposal, that person's behavior is expected probably to be different from other people, right? And so when this comes in, forms you, it determines the basis of what? The actions you take. Informed action, right? But when what you heard, what you know, right? When what you know that comes in, You're able to act on what you know. What you get is now what we call what? Knowledge, right? There's a difference between knowledge and information. Knowledge is an instruction that have yielded an outcome. Right? Some people possess information, while some people have knowledge. The only time you can say you're knowledgeable about something is until what you know produces a result in your life. What you have is what? You may possess some information about something because what you know have to give you some age in what you do. So while building this business, there are 4 different types of knowledge that you will need. Number 1 is called learning knowledge. You know, my brother Leon said that don't miss an event. Right? And one of my mentors told me that he said, Eladi, be careful who talks to you, who speak to you, the words, right? Because when someone talks to you, those words goes into your heart. And James Allen said, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Learning knowledge, these are knowledge that you get from presentations, seminars, workshops like this, events, from books. They are good, but they are not enough if you must be very successful. So you need the second level of knowledge here. It's called model knowledge. Model knowledge. Don't forget that. One of the easiest way to success in this business is through modeling. My mentor told me, Mr. Bob then, he said, Eladi, model success. I'll never forget the story that Mr. David Monito was sharing with me one time. He said, Eladi, he said, when I first saw this opportunity of network marketing, I was broke. And I went to an event and he said, by the way, I went to university, a college in the US. He said the pass mark to college, I think was about 120 and he got 33 out of 120. So obviously he didn't qualify. He happens to fall in love with a young lady and he has a daughter. So it's like he had a limited future. But when he went to this event, he saw a young person, then Mr. Box was talking, and the guy was making millions of dollars. And the guy shared this same knowledge. And you know what he did? He said he hired a camera. And he followed Mr. Box to 3 events, recording everything that Mr. Box was saying. So he went home and sat at home. He said for 2 weeks, he put those programs on auto. Right? Start from the beginning, finish, beginning, finish. He said, if this guy is making $1-2 million in this industry, by the way, they call him the Michael Jordan of network marketing then because he's single-handedly the person that have earned over $1 billion in commission, right? In networking. So, he said, if this guy earned this type of money by cracking the same job, saying the same thing, doing the same thing, he said, I vow to God that I'm not going to consider changing anything until I become nothing less than him. Unfortunately, how many of you know David here? Yeah, you know him, right? You know how David works, right? Like this.
Yeah.
You know how he got that from?
Auto bags.
That's how the box works.
Yeah. Yeah. Auto bags.
He said, I'm a broke guy.
Mm.
I can't take advice from myself. This guy makes $1-2 million.
Mm.
He said, I vow I'm going to model and photocopy this guy exactly until I become nothing less than him. He moved from nothing, 0.
Yes.
6 months later, $250,000 a month.
Yeah.
Yes. I was asking my sister, including the work, he said, Larry, who knows whether $1 million? Who knows whether it's in the work? I'm gonna work, brother. You know, there's a popular saying that be a copycat. Don't be a copycat, right? But here's what I say. Sometimes it's okay to be a copycat. Make sure you copy the right cat.
Yeah. So over 750 now.
Sir?
It's almost $850,000 right now.
Yeah, that is just what he earns in commission.
Yeah.
Yeah. And remember, he left that company
Yeah.
many years ago.
Mm.
He went into another business,
Yeah.
did the same thing.
Yeah.
That's why I told you that network marketing is the only industry you join to earn who you are.
Mm.
Sure? If you have joined a business before and you did well and you moved to the next company, you couldn't do well. It simply means you stumbled on that result.
Yeah.
Sure. That's why I said any result you have that you can't repeat for the second time, the first one is a mistake.
Mm.
Yeah.
Because the best thing about this industry is not about the money,
Mm.
but it's about who you need to become in order to earn the money.
Mm.
The best thing about being a doctor or a lawyer is not the certificate that makes you a doctor or a lawyer, right?
Mhm.
If you go to a medical college and you graduated and I take away your certificate, it doesn't in any way make you less than a doctor.
Sure.
You're still a doctor, right?
Yes.
It's the knowledge, the experience that makes you you.
Mm.
So but most times people focus on what they can get instead of who they need to become in order to get what they want. So the second is called what?
Model knowledge.
Model.
Knowledge.
Well, you might probably not want to be like David to have to copy someone, you know, exactly including the way he walks, the way he talks and everything. But probably, right, here's the thing, and that's one thing I also told myself. When I got involved, I said, hey, Larry, I'm not gonna even, you see, I don't take advice from me. Someone asked me, they said, why? I said, because how far I have come is based on probably what my mind brought me this far, right? If I want to go further, I have to depend on the mind of people that have been where I've not been. True?
Yes.
You are not. I tell someone that the beautiful thing about being a millionaire is not the million. It's the knowledge, the experience that you have to get to become a millionaire, right? So if you have not made $1 million yet, you can't depend on yourself to get to $1 million. Because you are not $1 million person yet. If you know how to do it, probably you would have been a millionaire already. That's why in your upline systems, leadership, find someone that have done exactly what it is that you want to do and model it. We shall call it this after. Make sure the first one is called what? Learning. Don't miss the events. Don't miss the classes. Don't miss the books. Much so, make sure you win. Model success. Number 3 is called activity knowledge. Activity knowledge. Actually, what transforms information into knowledge is activities, right? Is what you do with what you know that counts at the end of the day. It's not just about knowing. Hey, I know this, but guess what? You're broke. Make sure. I tell someone that there's a bridge that connects your dreams, your aspiration to your reality. It's called action. Right? You have to, at this stage, you have to practice everything that you learn here and then that you see here. And then lastly, we call it teaching knowledge. Teaching knowledge. You know, as a leader in this business, Martin talked about duplication, right? It is not enough for you to learn. Just don't jump the process. Learn, model, do, and teach. Study to learn, practice before you teach. Right? Study before you learn, practice before you teach. Don't jump from learning to what? To teaching. Get some result. I used to tell people in my organization that result is a living thing. It speaks, right? Are we good?
Yes.
If you're here, say aye.
Hi.
So let me reiterate. First is called what?
Right.
Learning knowledge. The second is called what?
Model knowledge.
The third is called what? Activity knowledge. The last one is called
Teaching.
Sometimes, of an honest truth, I used to tell some of my people in my organization that it's not because I do much more than them. How many of you have read the book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? How many of you have seen that there's a principle called sharpening the saw? Right?
Yeah.
It talks about 2 farmers that went into the woods to bring down a tree. And let's say each of them have 10 hours to bring down a tree, right? All of them are given blunt partners to bring down the tree. I mean, blunt saw. So one decided to go straight away into the wood to bring down the tree, while the other decided to take some time, all right, to sharpen his saw, such that when he came back, it took him less time to bring down the tree than it took. But in network marketing, this is what you have to do. You need to consistently make sure you are what? You are sharpening your saw while cutting the tree at the same time. You don't have to wait until you finish sharpening your saw before you cut the tree. But while you're in the market, remember, because we don't have much time. How many minutes? 5. Okay. Because we don't have much time, I just want to share with you this quickly, right? So everybody that you meet, their ability in order to join your business is determined by 3 things. Actually, when you are talking to even your people, right, while building this business, they are looking for 3 proofs. 3 what? How do they spell proof? Proof. Yes. Okay, P what? Okay. I don't know the difference. This proof or the other one. Or I just know that it's called
Proof. It's the same sound. Proof.
All right. Okay. That's great. It's okay. It's all right.
Yes.
So while you get all these things, you go out there to act on what you know. But while you're acting, people are looking for 3 proofs. One is called proof of work.
POW.
Sir?
Oh, I said POW.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's called what? Proof
Proof of work.
Is this thing working?
Mm.
Right? It's not a question they ask you directly, but it's a subconscious kind of thing they ask in their mind, questions. Well, does it work? So constantly, that is why in many of your presentations programs, it should be filled with more success stories or testimonials of either the product or how this business is able to change someone's life. Are we good?
Yes.
Now the second is called proof of help. Proof of help. POH. Why on earth would somebody that you meet out there that is struggling and you show them an opportunity that's going to give them a brand new car? Probably that will take them all over the world, that's going to give them an opportunity to make millions of dollars, and yet they will tell you, I don't have time. Or I don't have money to do this business. Or I go and think about it. Right? Maybe, probably because they sense they're not going to get any help. Help.
Help.
Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. And lastly, you need to help them to believe. Right? That they can do it. Let me summarize by telling you this. The number one biggest challenge that many leaders have in building network marketing is because they are too smart enough to build big organizations. I will explain. Alright? Let me explain to you. And I want you to learn it this way. I used to have a principle that I teach my people because I realized that 98% of people don't like sales, 98% of people are dumb. So I say building in a dumb way. Right? And Mr. Jeron and Martins, they all talked about system. Remember that? So,
Yes.
what I did, I just tell you a small story. In one of the opportunities that I got involved, I made sure I sat down and I recorded like a 20 minutes presentation. All right? Not because I cannot always do the presentation, but for the purpose of duplication. That was why I did that. So, two things. One, remember me, all right? Two things I want to share. So the first one was in a class, the other one is a TED. So the first one was in a class. I was in an event and some of the guys who were working together were doing a presentation, and when the presentation was over, they said time for questions and answers. By the way, if you're here and you're considering doing presentation, make sure during your sessions don't give opportunity for what?
Questions and
For
answers.
questions and answers.
Yeah.
How many of you have been doing this before? Right? I've seen people that have made millions of dollars never ever give anyone a chance for question and answer. Here's the reason. Sometimes you will spend 30 minutes, 40 minutes to do a very beautiful presentation. Right?
Yeah.
And someone will raise their hand and ask one question that will pollute the mind of everybody.
Yeah.
Right? So what you do, you say, hey, presentation is over, great to have you. For the sake of our time, we have our leaders, all right? Mr. So, Mrs. So, Mr. So, Ms. So, all of them are around. If you have any question, they can be able to attend you.
Yes.
Right? In that way, only people that genuinely have questions will actually. So, but there was this situation that happened. So they gave a time for people to ask questions, and someone came out. Sometimes some people like showing themselves, right? Have you been in that presentation where someone will just ask questions to bastardize everybody there and just show themselves? So there are actually 4 people that came from another company, and they sat on a row. So it was time for question. They said, when my guy was about to answer the question, he said, no. He said, who is the highest person here? They said, our mentor. He said, where is he? He said, he's at the back. He said, yeah, it's him now. We want to ask a question. He said, sir, please, with all due respect, can you come up to answer our question? I said, sure. The guy was balanced. I'm going to embarrass this guy today. I'm going to deal with this guy today. So I was out, and he started blah, 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 blah. And guess what? All the guests that are there, their eyes are on me to see whether I will be able to answer the question. Even my followers, their eyes are also on me to see whether mentor is going to be able to answer this question. And those guys, and to be very honest, that was probably one of the most simplest questions maybe I could answer. And I collected the microphone and deliberately I started stammering. I said, Then he said, "Oh, God, answer the question now." I said, answer the question. Then I was scratching my head. I said, actually, sir, you know what? He said, what? He said, I don't know the answer. They look at me and they said, I said it. So they were very happy. I said, I don't know the answer. But you know what? He said, what? I said, I didn't have to know the answer to come this far. It means you don't need to know the answer. You don't have to be successful in this business. I said, why can't you come and join me? So we'll be making money while we find out the answer. Out of anger, the guy stood up, he went and said, where the phone? He snatched the phone. And you know what happened? In his head, he said, if this guy is as dumb as this, is making this kind of money, it means if I get involved in this business, I want to crash this company. What happened? Remember, I could have answered him intelligently and feed my ego, but I steal from my pocket. I just made him know that he can do it, right? The proof that they can do it. The major reason why many times people don't even get involved is because the way we present to them. We sound so intelligent, so eloquent, so smart that they're thinking, wow, even though I like this money, I like this guy, I'm not as eloquent as this person, I'm not as smart as this person. So if I don't see myself doing this business, all right, if I don't see myself being smart, talking, doing the way they do, probably I don't also see myself being successful in this business. Right? So every step as a leader you're making for the purpose of duplication, you want to make sure that it is what? It's very simple. The last example, someone came, he said, "Mentor, I want to see the presentation." I said, "Listen, pay attention to what I had to do in order to get this started." It was very serious. So I took a CD. Then we have this DVD that you have to put CD. Nowadays, most laptops don't come with it, right? So I slot it inside and I click play, and the presentation started. From beginning to end. I said, "Let's get it started." He looked. I said, "But first, you know, the way we do in our business here is that we don't accept people if we are not sure they have the ability to succeed in our business. So I need to ask you a question to see whether you're qualified to work with us." I said, "What do I need to do, sir?" He was quiet. I said, "Do you, sir, in all sense of honesty, do you have the ability to click play?" So you look at me, you just slapped me. He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "What did I have to do to educate you?" He said, "You just put the CD and click play." I said, "Do you have the ability to do the same thing?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Congratulations. Let's get you started." He was confused. He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "What did I have to do to get you started?" He said, "You just click play." I said, "Can you do?" He said, "I can do it all day long." That's why Jerome talks about simple. Keep it simple. All right? Make sure you keep it simple. People are looking for what? The proof that it's working, the proof that you will be there with them to help them, but much more, you need to help them to believe in themselves that they can do this business. Right? And sometimes it's difficult, right? Sometimes what? Even if you look at the world, to help them to believe, it's a very difficult. Faith, remember I told you that day, I said faith is believing what you did not see will happen. Right? The same thing with you. If I tell you that I am in Singapore, I'm a diamond, the truth is, in the realm of the absolute, by professing it's already done. But here, everything will have to take time. Right? Consistency. Martin's talked about it, right? But even after that, so if you want to be in Singapore, here's what I want you to do. Right? We don't have much time. But I want you to get a picture of Singapore. Make it your screensaver. And have another picture of yourself. I am a diamond. Right? Yes. You know that diamond flyer, right? Make a diamond flyer for yourself. And see yourself already there. There is something that happens to you. If you look at this word, believe. You ever believe? You're lying. It's lying to yourself, right? You might not physically be a diamond yet, but mentally you're already there. You have to keep lying to yourself that you're there. Right? So remember, I said what? Have a picture. How many of you are going to do it? If you're in the game, alright, I'm going to get your number and I'll be your accountability partner. Would that be great?
Yes.
So do I have your word to see you in Singapore?
Yes.
Alright. So I'm going to give you also part of the blueprint. I will work with some of my bosses, alright, both the vice president of sales and vice president of leadership to create something that I just want to see. Right? Remember I said that life don't give you what you want. Write this down. This is my last one, alright? Life don't give you what you want. Life gives you what you picture. Let me repeat. Life don't give you what you want. Life gives you what? What you picture. If I ask you, most of you don't live in Dubai here, some of you, right? If I ask you, my sister, you live here?
No, I live in Nairobi.
Nairobi. Do you know many people here?
That should be maybe just one.
You love cars?
Yes.
What's your favorite item?
Alexis.
Lexus?
Doesn't understand.
Okay, no. I mean your dream car.
A Porsche Cayenne.
I see that. Alright? So she loves Porsche Cayenne, right?
Yeah.
So let me create this hypothetical situation. If I ask my sister here, can you stand up please? If I ask my sister here to get 200 people tomorrow morning for a presentation here, can you do it? Be very honest.
To be honest, I can.
You can?
I'll call and ask everyone I know here to bring their friends.
Because if you say yes, we're probably going to do it.
200 people.
Yes, I need 200 people.
Tomorrow.
Yes, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Yes. No, I mean, 10 a.m. in the morning.
100 people.
You can do 100. Okay. Now, my sister can't do it, right? But suppose I give you, this is a key of Porsche
Ferrari.
Cayenne, right? And the latest one, 2022. And I asked her to drive around inside the car and make sure that she visited all her enemies, her families and friends and people even that say you can't do it, right? And afterwards, she returned back to this spot. I said, hey, my sister, what's your name? I said, hey, Christopher, you know, this car is yours. Only that I need 200 people in this way tomorrow morning or else I give grace. Can you do it?
Yes.
That's what I will.
How come? How come? Probably what is once a big challenge all of a sudden becomes nothing because of the picture, the experience, right?
How long it can take for me to get that Porsche Cayenne and you're giving me the key?
All right. So remember, guys, life don't give you what you want. Life rewards you according to what?
Your picture.
What you picture. Thank you very much.